Good morning. We're at the kitchen table of God's Country Place, and I'm sitting here with Master Joanna, a teacher of God, and we're alone still, but there will be others joining us here at the kitchen table, perhaps for a session. I was ruminating within my own mind and musing about how an awakened consciousness of my nature, my mind, my awakened mind. Can you hear that on the tape? I'm scraping the tape recorder. And Anna says, don't do that. Don't scrape the recorder if you've got something to say. For about the last half hour here on this early morning, I've been sitting looking for a way to express the impossible. That is, to encapsulate my revelation as to the certainty of God or wholeness into a single talk, into a single catechism of reality. What method that I could use, perhaps within the Christian vernacular, the statement of wholeness reached through the transformation of the split mind, and an attempt to bring it together in a single statement. Here comes another. This is Jolene. This is another teacher of God who just came over from the farm, and she's taking off her coat and coming in. We're going to talk a little bit here. Whether we'll ever use this tape, I don't know, but I'm going to try to state things as simply as I can. The statement involves this: there is no philosophy or religion of the world that has ever been or will ever be anything but a declaration that a human mind, as configured, has the capacity of knowledge. That is to say, it has within it the possibility of coming to a whole self. I look at you and I see, yes, this new consciousness now that has come here has within it, by whatever means, the possibility of recognition of a wholeness, a statement of its whole self. The difficulty is not so much in this declaration, because throughout history, exoterically, are all the admissions of the search of split mind, okay? The declaration, I don't know who I am, I must find this answer, to the reality of the, what? Enlightenment, or becoming to whole. Ultimately and directly, this is the sole purpose of all religions: the folding back of the mind, the return to the mind, the remembering of the mind of its previous associations with wholeness, which was heaven, wasn't it? Any teaching that doesn't direct itself to the transformation of your mind, that is, as you associate yourself, ultimately is going to be meaningless, okay? If we were to go to the Course in Miracles, which is the greatest expose of this teaching that obviously has ever come historically within any framework that you could think of, the Course in Miracles is a directive and encapsulation of all of the statements of what you term mystical Christianity, of the initiation process, of the coming to your Christhood, of the perfection of your mind in association with God, for goodness sake. Those of you who for 10 years have been doing the Course in Miracles, which is a direct intercession of a whole mind, of the identity of Jesus Christ into the chaotic perceptual mind, can, if you just start with that premise, okay, it would be of infinite benefit to you. The premise being what? I will bring this about through the transformation of my mind. Then, instead of doing silliness like I've got to forgive my neighbor, I'm working on the idea of establishing relationships on earth, and I'm formulating new churches, and by silliness I don't mean that they may not have value within your framework. I'm talking about a statement of the truth of the necessity for the transformation. Now, we'll begin with this. There is no question, and as Jesus Christ says in the Course, all I ever teach is forgiveness and love or wholeness in association with my mind, which is a conglomerate of memory about the schism. Okay. Then the fundamental teaching very easily can become the confrontation will be between what I think I am or how I am established and the truth of what I really must be, isn't it? This is really what shall we do it in Christianity? This is the coming up out of Egypt originally, the crossing of the Red Sea, the coming ultimately into Jerusalem, and the reenactment of the entire passion of awakening. The idea that the crucifixion and resurrection of Christ as an historic event has no value because our teachings must be to your transformation, and that at best all historical events are nothing but allegories of the statement of the passion of your awakening. That's a fact, my brothers. This is the teaching of the Course, not more or not less for this. The Course in Miracles, as expressed in perhaps more mystical Christianity, is nothing but the search for the Holy Grail, isn't it? It is nothing but that. The whole idea of the purification of you through service and forgiving is to do nothing but bring your perceptual mind together, okay, to formulate a new reality, which is the Grail. If you would begin to look at the mystical teachings of Christianity in the transformation process and incorporate those into the workings of the Course in Miracles, it would be of great benefit to you. The problem that you have is that always the idea of individual transformation has been expurgated from the established church that maintains that salvation comes through a mutual association of mind rather than the coming through transformation to a whole mind. But all you would have to do is begin to look historically at Christianity, and it would be very obvious to you that the heretics are the statements of Jesus Christ and are persecuted by the establishment, which are the denial of the transformation of Jesus Christ. For goodness sake, is that too? The wages of, say, in the early 13th century, the wages, the slaughter, the burning at the stake of the Cathars, which followed the Gnostic teachings and teachings of brothers of the free spirit, the teachings of any consecrated endeavor to enlightenment of the mind have always been sought out, okay, and vigorously attacked. By what? By perceptual mind. And we'll do it once more. The statement of Jesus that if you can find whole mind, you'll kill it, is the statement of perception in the conflict it is experiencing with its own ideas. What we're saying then is that enlightenment, or the teaching of the Course, is nothing but the bringing together of opposites. This is the whole Socratic teaching of the Course in Miracles. Take your opposites, take your perception, and through the welding or the bringing of them together in your mind, you can see your whole self. Is this a mystical talk? Yeah, Christianity, a statement that you are, like is in the Course, the only living Son of God, or are an emanation from a single whole consciousness, and can come to know that through the relinquishment of your perceptual mind. The whole teachings of Jesus in the Course, that there is no thought outside of you, so that you can direct your attention to that splitness, to the initiation process of the purgation or the relinquishment of your previous historic frames of reference. This is exactly what the Course in Miracles is. Nothing more and nothing less than this. Okay? Where are these teachings being taught then? Well, they're very fearful teachings. If you present the consciousness with the necessity of relinquishment, the whole beginning process is to give up your worldly things. You're not going to do that. Jesus provides what he terms a middle road that you can begin to practice in the workbook, beginning with the statements, I don't know what anything is. My mind is split. I am really nothing. That through this a meditative technique, if you will, can relinquish himself and fall into his surrender to God, which is nothing but prayer. The mystical identification or union of something that appears to be outside of you. Is the acknowledgement that it's outside of you valuable? Of course. If this isn't heaven, like Jesus says, well, you look around you, where do you think you are? But in your perceptual evaluation of yourself, which has to be hell. Now, my declaration to you that this must be individual is met with a great deal of resistance from you. You would much prefer to believe that you can gather cohesive evidence and present it to your perceptual mind in a manner which you can maturate or be enlightened and to come. Of course you can't. It's impossible. It cannot be done. The coming of the Holy Spirit or the third eye or the philosopher's stone or the Holy Grail or the reaching Jerusalem and on and on and on. If you guys out there would begin to look at the frame of reference from which Master Jesus teaches in the Course, you would become very excited. Because directly beneath the surface of all so-called exoteric teachings lie the certainty of the necessity of the initiation. Jesus teaches nothing but this. I declare to you through the process of my own initiation that this is the only manner that you will get it. Now you can attack me for that if you wish. But I am, as Jesus does in the Course, I'm laying the direct responsibility for the coming about of this into the power of your mind. Will the power of your mind lead you to the certainty of the necessity for the relinquishment of yourself? Of course. Okay. There are some lovely statements in the Course that direct you directly to that. Huh? Your sole responsibility is not to take responsibility. Okay. The only necessity you have is to relinquish the idea that you have a necessity. I don't know how you teach that, but that's our statement. That will bring about what? The actual transformation of your body-mind associations. And if you think that we are not concerned about the enlightenment of the whole self, you're wrong. The initiation process must include the coming to light of your physiological associations. And if you think the Course doesn't teach this, you're wrong. It teaches only that you may become a vehicle of love and communication through this process of enlightenment. All right? Now, the consciousnesses who have been directly associated with ideas of enlightenment or spiritual paths will often reach a point of the admission of the necessity for the transformation of their own mind or the giving up of their previous value systems, at which time they simply turn away. Okay. We are going to begin at this jumping off place, and my whole teachings to you, if you listen to these tapes and the teachings of the brothers who are going to come among you, not in secret this time, not in separate cells, but rather in the open, as in the Course in Miracles, teaching you love, will be to your individual transformation. And this will make you very happy if you look at it. Why? Many of you who have been doing the Course, the ideas of the relinquishment of guilt, the ideas that sin and death are impossible, the ideas that the earth is not real, have encountered a great deal of difficulty simply because you, in your own thinking, have brought together some lucid thoughts that are immediately contradicted by everything we want you. We want to encourage you that our whole teaching is to bring about this transformation and, in fact, to include all of the phenomena of the change of your mind. It's important that you begin to look at the teachings of Jesus that will make statements as in, say, the text of chapter 22, where he says, your eyes were never designed to see. Okay? Your eyes were designed, and your body are designed explicitly to be perceptual, not to see, and it's the Holy Spirit, or the bringing together of this male and female aspect of you. Is that mystical? The bringing together of the potential of you, the activation within the cellular construction of your body. And this is kind of a mystical talk, but for goodness sake, there is no tradition that doesn't deal with enlightenment. The Course in Miracles is a course in whole-mindedness. Now that can start to be a lot of fun and happy for you if you will what? Direct your attention in an increasing manner to a determination that there is another condition of consciousness of which the earth is not and is not aware. This is the workbook. Okay? Can this be practiced? Sure. This is what we want you to do. But when you begin to experience then the real transformation of your mind, okay, we want to validate that for you. We want you to come to us and address us and say, teacher, I'm beginning to undergo some changes. I'm beginning to think differently than I used to. Everything seems the same to me, but it's entirely different in my mind. I am bringing together these thoughts. I am atoning. I am becoming enlightened. These are the people we want to hear from. We know what's happening. And we know that it's being denied by group therapy in order to force you back into the mold of perceptual falsity. Are we attacking society? No, we don't care. The statements of Jesus are the world isn't real. Everyone must come to know that. Okay? Obviously you're going to attack that, but that's okay. Finally, you're going to feel the frustration of your attempts to make the earth real and your ludicrous attempts to associate this intense love and passion that you have with sickness and death. You're very determined to bring them together. The whole teachings of the Course is stop doing that. That's insane. The whole teachings would be that there is only love and that there is no conflict, and that through a change of your mind you will change the world, because the world is only your construct and your dream. Wow, is this easy? Do you really want to look at the idea that you are the cause of the world, that the world is literally you? Of course not. But the whole teachings of initiation are to the direction that you are body world or body mind or wholeness contained within yourself. What fun it becomes then. Why? As you see these things happen, you say, yes, I'm changing. My mind is going to be enlightened. It can happen to me. Then when you read the stories of Rosicrucians and Masonry and all of the lovely mystical elements, the original formulations of all established religions contain elements of enlightenment, or the frenzy of Damascus, or the Pentecost, or the Methodist, the vision, the activation of the potential, the shrine of reality, the Grail, the hermetic idea of the formulation of the energies of the body, the awakening of the Kundalini, the coming together of the yin and the yang. Come on. What do you think the Course in Miracles is? Do I dare let this tape? What are the kind of, don't tell me that Jesus is teaching bodily transformation. What do you think the resurrection is if it's not enlightenment? There's some sentences in the Course that have to be assiduously avoided. Sentences like, you can depart now in the blaze of light if you wish. This isn't real, dummy, and all the other things that go with it. I suppose in that sense this is an advanced talk, but the opening statement of the Course in Miracles is anything is fearful is not real, and this is a fearful place, therefore it's not real. If you would somehow start with that premise, you could search within your own perceptual dream of falsity, okay, back to the moment of fear, the moment that you refuse to go into, which is what the initiation process is, at which time you cross the veil. You bring together the opposites. You become singular perception, whole perception, true perception through the awakening of the ajna, the third eye. the initiation. You become a perfect, a new mind. Does that become common in the statement of relationship history? No, sure. I'm a definition of it. I'm a perfect definition of it in whole-mindedness. I teach nothing but give up and love. Obviously, I'll be judged falsely, and I'll be accused of perceptual evaluation, of motivation. Our whole teaching is that all motivation is false because it's contained within perceptual mind. Will you be attacked if you teach relinquishment? Hey, brother. Why? Relinquishment is love. Relinquishment is giving, which is close as you can get to creating here, is the giving of yourself. But if mind is split, mind cannot become whole, okay, except by the extension of itself or the admission of the necessity for the non-defense of itself in association with the images that it has projected outside of it. That's what the process is, and that's what you're teaching. Will I include all of the happenstances of phenomena that go along with this, the visions and the miracles and perception? Of course. Good. You're free to change your mind this very moment and come to see the value of the teachings of the Course. For example, that time is not sequential. That you simply have organized in your perceptual mind associate ideas that have no value, whatever. Well, now you can become whole and realize that you are indeed the single emanation from whole mind, or as Jesus would say, the only living Son of God. Take a big bite of that, and you'll start to feel real good about it. We may release this tape. There isn't anything I'm going to say that certainly we're going to have to get into the idea of holding directly. Maybe seminar isn't the word, but the coming together in a temple of worship with the necessity of the transformation, the Pentecost, because without that you'll just spin and die. So we'll be back to talk to you about it. Stay with us. We're back for a minute. Perhaps I can put that on the tape. The idea of the transformation, now I'm going to make an admission here. At the very beginning of the Course, Master Jesus says, and I'll reiterate to you, that we are dealing with an impossible situation. All situations, or the idea of space-time, are really impossible. They are statements of the possibility of location, okay? The idea that there really was a rage in heaven, and that there really was a schism, and that somehow something evil came out of something good, and now you have the impossible task of trying to determine within your perception which is good and which is evil. This is not what I have come to tell you. My statement is this: nothing really happened, okay? At the moment of this apparent loss of communication, this disassociation, okay, at the apparent moment of it, the repair of it, the atonement, the one-ment of it was instantaneous. The distance between the idea of the possibility of separation and the return to wholeness are what space-time are, okay? Now, you may pose the question as often as you wish, and certainly established Christianity, that religion does it, you know. Well, if that's so, what is the purpose for me? If what you say is real, I must have something evil outside of myself, or I must accept the responsibility that I am the schism. This is my teaching. Okay. But you're going to pose the question, well, what am I doing here? You are giving me validation here in order to assert that I can come to the truth. You will be mistaken finally if you believe that I'm doing that. My indication in this is for you to see that you really have no choice in this. The idea that you could make a legitimate choice to being separate from wholeness and coming whole is absurd and insane. That being said, I direct you to the only release there ever could be, and that would have to be the acknowledgement of the unreality of sickness, sin, and death. It literally cannot be done any other way. That then, conversely, must involve the coming together of your whole mind thoughts in association with this schism which is established in your mind. That's what the initiation is, isn't it? Hermetically, it's the activation of the I Ching, the genetic potential of you, with the certainty of the emanation of a single reality in the creative endeavor. Is that a real thing? Yeah. Dear teacher, if you are potential, there is a necessity for your activation. In the mystical experience, as long as this is a mystical talk, in the beginning, God created heaven and earth. God is feminine plural in the translation. And if you would like to retranslate that, in the beginning, a group of 7 sisters or 7 females created heaven and earth. You would be very, very close to the truth. Is that okay if I put this in? Obviously, we're going to take the centers of your potential or your female or your churches as expressed in the apocalypse. Boy, this is really getting mystical. And activate them through the insertion of a male reality, as you would call it. Wow, isn't that something? People complain about Master Jesus not having gender in the Course, and I notice how quickly they'll take it and say brothers and sisters. No, we don't do that. Okay, the necessity for sister or female, okay, obviously is the demand of earth associations or potential with the reality of the impregnation of the male. And there's a great necessity to acknowledge the female. Without the female, there would be no necessity for the male. You're telling me that the female is evil somehow. The association or the idea of that potential is evil is a statement of time or possibility. And of course, that's evil in the sense that it contains notations of distraction in regard to possibility, in regard that anything could occur that has not already been totally fulfilled within the framework of reality. Our teaching, of course, is to come back from the black hole, to return, okay, the going out and the coming back of you, okay, is the maturity of the center of your body configuration, the activation of it. And these are things that as you come more and more into your own enlightened mind, you will use as validations, allegorically or in simile or in metaphor. And finally, in the subtraction of the symbol itself, and the simple statement that everything that you are doing is holy. There's some lovely teachings in the Course where Jesus says nothing is symbolic, form is not real, nothing represents anything. Okay? Whole-mindedness would see immediately then that what we're doing at this moment is all that there is, that we are in a divine meditation or notation of the parable of our passion to reality. That's fun to do. Wow, isn't that something? Now, those of you who are alone and listening to this or in a group, you can discuss this if you wish, but I assure you that the solace, the peace will come in your own temple. And the peace will come when you go into the closet and do the direct confrontation with the fear that you experience over the message that I'm presenting you with now. It's a very fearful thing to you. Well, the only thing the earth is fear of God. Is that conflict real? That's absurd. What would truth know of falsity? What are you going to bring to God and to truth that he doesn't know? This is really what the Course in Miracles says. Truth is true, and nothing else is true. So why are you concerned? All you need do in this forgiveness teaching, okay, is bring your whole mind together in a non-judgmental relationship with yourself, and the miracle occurs automatically because you have removed the conflict of perceptual observation. This is the Course in Miracles. This is the initiation process. Historically, it can involve a lot more than just listening to a single tape. What else would be included? Well, first of all, and without getting into it, there's a necessity for the purgation of the physical body. Does that involve a variance in the previous assimilations that the body underwent to bring about a more refined excrement, the possibility of celibacy, the dealing with the association of sexuality? Of course, all of those things are contained in there. This day was not designed to necessarily direct to a discipline to this, but rather to assert that as your mind comes more and more to this, the necessity for that purgation or for that purification will become a more and more gentle discipline. You'll find that you begin to disassociate from your previous conceptions in association to what you thought you were. That will include your family, occupation, and all the other things that go with this change in your mind. But Master Jesus would teach it that this can be brought about gently by the continuing relinquishment. We would encourage you not to tarry with this. You have always compromised it up until now, and you think that by examining your previous associations you're going to arrive at where you are in the advancement of your own spiritual acumen. I assure you that you're false. Although I allow for progress, progress has no reality outside of time, and only reality is outside of time. And on we go, and on we go. Okay? We'll be back soon. So, here we are back just for a minute. We've been talking, but I'm going to put a little more on and finish this tape off. I've made statements about that the Course in Miracles is a course in direct contact with God. Okay? And I'm astonished. People say, well, I've been studying the Course for 10 years, or I've just completed a year of Course. And that's fine, and stay with it, guys. But finally, every lesson of the Course contains all of the elements for the complete transformation, because it literally teaches that the initiation must occur now, not in some historic framework. It teaches that you've never been right, and once you are, you won't be here and the world will be gone. But that is a direction of initiation, or the possibility of an actual vision or illumination. And I'm going to do for you lesson 157 without much interpretation. I'm going to read it to you. But you remember that this is how we teach the Course. We teach that if you'll do this, you will begin to have these experiences. Okay. This is a day of silence and of trust. This day, today, now. It is a special time of promise in your calendar of days. It is a time heaven has set apart to shine upon and cast a timeless light upon this day, where echoes of eternity are heard. This day is holy, for it ushers in a new experience, a different kind of feeling and awareness. You have spent long days and nights in celebrating death. Today you learn to feel the joy of life. Now, this is another crucial turning point in the curriculum. We add a new dimension now, a fresh experience that sheds a light on all that we have learned already and prepares us for what we have yet to learn. It brings us to the door where learning ceases, and we catch a glimpse of what lies past the highest reaches it can possibly obtain. It lies past the highest reaches of our perception, doesn't it? It's the initiation. It leaves us here an instant, and we go beyond it, sure of our direction and of our only goal. Today, it will be given you to feel a touch of heaven, though you will return to paths of learning. Yet you have come far enough along the way to what? To alter time sufficiently to rise above its laws and walk into eternity a while. You think we're not teaching initiation, you listen to this. We will alter time. Now, this you will learn to do increasingly as every lesson, faithfully rehearsed, brings you more swiftly to this holy place and leaves you, for a moment, to yourself. Wow. Now, yourself will direct your practicing today, for what you ask for now is what he wills, and having joined your will with his this day, what you are asking must be given you. Nothing is needed but today's idea to light your mind and let it rest in still anticipation and in quiet joy, wherein you quickly leave the world behind. And that lesson is, into his presence would I enter now. You ready for this? From this day forth, your ministry takes on a genuine devotion and a glow that travels from your fingertips to those you touch and blesses those you look upon. Healing. A vision reaches everyone you meet and everyone you think of or who thinks of you. For your experience today will so transform your mind that it becomes the touchstone for the holy thoughts of God. Ready? Your body will be sanctified today. Its only purpose being now to bring the vision of what you experience this day to light the world. Okay? We cannot give experience like this directly, yet it leaves a vision in our eyes which we can offer everyone, that he may come the sooner to the same experience in which the world is quietly forgot and heaven is remembered for a while. As this experience increases and all goals but this become of little worth, the world to which you will return becomes a little closer to the end of time, a little more like heaven in its ways, a little nearer its deliverance. And you who bring it light will come to see the light more sure, the vision more distinct. The time will come when you will not return in the same form in which you now appear. Wow. For you will have no need of it. Yet now this sanctification of your body has a purpose and will serve it well. Today we will embark upon a course you have not dreamed of, brother. Listen, but the Holy One, the giver of the happy dreams of life, translator of perception into truth, the holy guide to heaven given you, has dreamed for you this journey which you make and start today with the experience this day holds out to you to be your own. Into Christ's presence will we enter now, serenely unaware of everything except his shining face and perfect love. The vision of his face will stay with us, but there will be an instant which transcends all visions, even this, the holiest. This you will never reach, for you obtain it not through your learning. Yet the vision speaks of your remembrance of what you knew in this instant, and will surely know again. This is the highest statement that has ever been made in any vernacular of the certainty of the transformation of your mind through the application of this course, through the relinquishment of yourself. This is the moment of the glory of the parting of the veil. This is our declaration to you that it has happened to us and can happen to you. This is our only statement. Everything else then, through this light, through this awakening, will change about you as you see that this little place that you have constructed in the sickness of your separation has no reality. It's a hatching out, isn't it? It's a birth. Okay? It's a coming out of the tomb. It's the rolling back of the stone. It's the awakening of you to the light that's all around you, dreamer of death dreams. Okay? You've experienced death enough now, teacher of God. Come here with us and experience life eternal. How very lovely. We'll see you soon. Isn't that so very lovely? Into his presence I would enter now. Let's take the last few minutes, if you will join us now, those of you on this tape, and let's make this contact together, this union that we speak of, and You use then the energies of this enlightenment. Use this tape. And join together now in this brotherhood, this contact with God, and you feel it. Then open your hearts and open your minds and part the veil. Come to the light. That's it. Into his presence will I enter now. Look. This is the only purpose that I came for now, is to awaken. I'm here now and I will awaken. Just abandon. So, yes. Transfiguration, face of Christ. No other purpose, no other desire, nothing now to stop you from this incredible metamorphosis. All new. All very beautiful. Into his presence have I entered now. Seek ye first the kingdom. All else will be revealed to you. You use this tape now, and you use this meditation to bring about your own enlightenment. You come and be with us, and teach as we teach, and love as we love, and forgive as we forgive. Let your mind come whole now. Then all around you will be this death and chaos, but you rise above it, and love will extend from you. This is our declaration. This is the statement of our certainty.